Hi, everybody. Welcome to the GreenBiz studio. I'm Katie Ryan, Director of Sustainability here at GreenBiz. And today we are joined by the wonderful Jonathan Kim, Chief Sustainability Officer and VP of Climate Impact over at Terraformation. Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, Katie. Nice to meet you.
It's so great to have you here. Tell me, what is the latest at Terraformation? What are you guys up to these days?
Yeah, so Terraformation, as you know, is a reforestation tech company. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is how some of our work early on, doing reforestation and technology, hardware and software, is really starting to come into its own. We've started this model called the Accelerator about a year and a half ago, where we catalyze local community members and NGOs and get them to start doing, a scaled up project, one of their first carbon projects. And I'm really excited to see that first cohort starting to get interest from investors. We actually just completed a sale a couple of weeks ago for their first offtake agreement, and they're all lining up for planting now. Some of them have actually already begun planting, and so it's really cool to see the work and this dream that we had, that we could do these types of projects with these communities and really starting there, and that to start to come into its own, as well as the same thing for our hardware and software platform, the technology that's kind of been the roots of our DNA as a company, starting to get adopted by organizations all throughout the world, using it for end-to-end seed tracking and nursery tracking and monitoring, and then outplanting into the field. So it's just cool to see these types of visions, which take a long time to do, start to come into fruition.
That is so cool. I love seeing the physical and the adoption growth happening over there. And I'd love to dig into a couple of key pieces because when it comes to these kinds of projects, it's like quality, quality, quality. If we're talking about the ability to drive impact, two areas I'd love to focus on with you: biodiversity and cost. Could you dig a little bit more into the factors to be considering as organizations look to invest in projects when it comes to biodiversity and cost?
Yeah. Biodiversity is something that's been near and dear to our hearts here at Terraformation, and from the very beginning has been part of our founding story. Our company and our founder Yishan started the company in Hawaii, which is one of the areas in the United States that probably loses more species every year than anywhere else. And so it's something that's always been very top of mind for us. You probably walked through a monoculture plantation and felt how quiet it is, right, compared to a primary forest. These things are not the same, and so it's great to see more of the conversation shifting in that direction around biodiversity. And as we know, biodiverse native forests, right, these things are more resilient because they have evolved over time to support each other, and an understory with a canopy and sort of all these different things together, making them grow and evolve. Whereas we don't see the same thing happen with monoculture. So I'm excited to see that be more part of the conversation as well. Um, and the upfront cost piece is really difficult too, right? I think a really complex one as well. It is 10 times more expensive to replant a native forest than it is to just protect one from the very beginning. And so when people ask, why should I be paying 10 times more for this, or significantly more, it's really the debt that we've accumulated over time, right? We as a civilization have accumulated this debt by cutting these forests down, and now we really have to pay it back. And that's, I think, one of the big reasons for driving up the cost. The other is that I think we've seen what happens when we pay less, right? When we try to optimize for paying the least amount possible. And I'm really excited to see the second generation of carbon projects emphasize how important it is to, pay the communities equitably, to invest in high quality, species selection, to really do thorough analysis and MRV and tracking, and add these tools and technologies, because those are the kinds of things that are going to make us to develop these projects that we're going to be really proud of in the future.
Speaking of being really proud of these projects, I know Terraformation has a strong commitment to working with the communities involved. Could you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, this is one of the things that we've just been really convicted about, and really excited about from the very beginning, which is that, there are already these organizations working in communities, and we'd actually supported a bunch of them early on just through grant funding. And it's been amazing to see, right? They are local to the communities. They know the communities really well. They may have already done, a 10 or 20 or 50 hectare reforestation project using grant funding. And that's the kind of enthusiasm. Those are the kinds of leaders that we really want to see and support. We aren't going into different regions and buying up a bunch of land and kicking the communities out, right? I think it's been proven that that type of model doesn't work. And we really like this model of how do we get these entrepreneurs in these areas who are already doing the great work and give them the tools they need, the financing they need, the technical support they need to really shine and come into their own.
I love how this conversation has been so grounding and practical and hopeful. And want to just pull on the string for one last question about what you're excited about that's coming our way. Like, look into the future a little bit. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I am really excited to see, I think, some of the latest announcements around more money and more capital and more players getting into this space. It feels like, every month there's a new fund getting raised that's really valuing biodiversity or valuing nature. And I get really excited about seeing that. It's not the panacea, right? Money is not going to solve all the problems, but I think it's been something that we has been in a deficit. I think in this space, really values aligned money, and I think that's one of the ways that we can at least start and open a conversation, which is for a while felt like a bit of a deadlock or stalemate. So it's great to see that happening.
Well, I love the investment that we've made here talking about the work happening over at Terraformation. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in. I'm Katie Ryan, Director of Sustainability at GreenBiz. Jonathan Kim, thank you again, Chief Sustainability Officer, VP of Climate Impact at Terraformation. We'll see you in the GreenBiz studio again soon. Thank you.